We are trying to reach the goal of 25,000 subscribers, and we could really use your support. If you enjoy daily Knicks content like this, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button because it could really support all the great content that we're creating for you. I'm disgusted. I am absolutely disgusted in what I have watched during the Bulls game tonight. Now, I'm not saying during stretches we didn't see good defense. We did. I'm not saying during stretches we didn't see good offense. We did. Jalen Brunson had 26 points in the first half. And then Karl-Anthony Towns had a 40-plus game. And we can't even enjoy it. Why? Because we allowed Kobe White to shoot lights out from three. Why? Because we allowed Zach LaVine to go inside, dominate inside, penetrate and create, have so many open other players on his team, get open from three, hit those open three-pointers, and then the cutting inside, finding people inside, getting to the line, getting contact. They were doing all of that, and they were taking advantage of the Knicks. And one thing we might have to give credit to, in the first half, the Knicks were leading, I believe, by 8 or 9 points against the Bulls by halftime. And then after halftime, which again was a little bit long because of Derrick Rose night. Shout out to Derrick Rose. I'm happy he was honored. He deserved to be honored. But when the halftime show happened, it extended it a little bit longer. That means everybody couldn't get on the floor at the same time. Now, I don't know if it was Derrick Rose's speech that motivated the Bulls, but there was a shift, a change going into that third quarter, and we saw it. It was like an avalanche. They scored 41 points, 41 points to 17 points for the Knicks. That was the game. They blew the game open. And as far as the Knicks tried, and we did, we tried to get back into the game. Karl-Anthony Towns gave you a 22-point quarter to try to help the Knicks get back into the game. We tried to fight back. At that point, the same thing against OKC happened again. Tired legs, tired Knicks players, and then the worst case scenario happens. Karl-Anthony Towns grabs his knee because he comes down awkwardly on a play. He's running down the court. You can see it in his face. He is grimacing. He is in pain. I am screaming at the TV. Take him out. Take him out. He shouldn't be out in the game. He should not be in there. And then a couple of plays later, he's standing there holding his knee. Can't move anymore. Can't even run up the court. He gets out of the game. By the way, he calls out of the game. He raises his hand, gets out of the game, checks out, and where does he go? Right to the locker room, limping off. We have no status of where he's going to be for the next game we play on Monday. And that is scary because Towns is having an MVP year, and we need him healthy and available. The way he left that game looks like he injured his knee very significantly. We're going to break down everything that happened during tonight's game, why the Knicks were so good in the first half, and how we let it all slide. How disgusting of a performance that we saw this Knicks team put on in that second half, specifically in that third quarter going into the fourth quarter. We're going to talk about all of that today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure you have notifications turned on. So anytime we drop new content, you get notified. And now, let's get started. The Knicks defense can't keep up with the Bulls. Cat injures his knee. That's right. I didn't stutter. Karl-Anthony Towns, who, by the way, had a phenomenal game. I am so upset, so disgusted that we can't talk about the all-star duo that is Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns, because those two went off. They helped the Knicks stay in the game, and Karl-Anthony Towns by himself tried to drag the Knicks back into the game by giving you 40-plus points, another double-double. He is just putting up monster numbers, MVP-like numbers. But when you're getting blown out by the Bulls, and you know during some points of the game, you're not going to get back in the game Because we're already losing. Why are the starters still in the game? Why are we playing them so many minutes still when we know we don't have a chance to get back into it? I respect this Knicks team trying to make sure they are impactful for each and every minute they are out there. But it's up to the coaching staff at some points in time to save our players from themselves. Of course, they're not going to ask to get out of the game. Why would they? They're competitors. They're never going to ask to get out. But as a coach, you see your team getting gassed. You see your team not having enough energy. What are you going to do? You're going to have to pull the plug at some point in time. You're going to have to pull them out. We didn't do that. We didn't do it soon enough. And then we saw Karl-Anthony Towns limp his way off to the locker room, and he did not look the same. And he looked like he injured that knee. He was holding it. He could not run on it. And when he went back to the locker room the entire way, he was limping off. You never want to see your all-star big man, the player that helped your offense get to near top 3 in the league, go down with injury. Thankfully, Karl-Anthony Towns looks like he avoided serious injury. Shout out to New York Basketball and Steph Bondi, an NBA insider with the New York Post, for giving us the following updates about Karl-Anthony Towns. According to them, Karl-Anthony Towns felt good enough to go through an exhaustive post-game weightlifting session and seemed to avoid anything serious as tests weren't deemed necessary after he got hurt late in Chicago. Given the way Towns landed and how he limped off the court, this is the best case scenario. I hope he's ready and good to go for Monday's game. But going to tonight's game, really? And I hate when I say this because I feel like I'm a broken record, but I'm sorry, guys. I have to say it. It was a tale of two halves yet again. In the first half, I thought that the Knicks were playing up to par with the Chicago Bulls. Our defense wasn't perfect, but it was a lot better than the defense you saw in the second half. And a lot of the defense that the Knicks had, in terms of problems the Knicks had, was the Bulls in transition. The Knicks defense, in terms of their transition defense, has been bad all season long. But against a Bulls team that likes to run, that likes to push the ball, that likes to take a lot of threes, the Knicks know the game plan. And if you didn't know the game plan, you learned it in the first quarter because I knew exactly what they were going to do. Whether it was Vooch, whether it was Zach LaVine, or whether it was Kobe White, they were going to penetrate, create, try to get to the line, get other players involved, or get wide open threes, or go straight to the basket each and every time. Push the ball up, either on a rebound or on a miss, or if they get a steal or some type of turnover, they're pushing the ball up and getting wide open threes. That's what Kobe White was doing all game long. In the first half, I thought the ball movement was very good by the Knicks. They were moving themselves, moving the ball, cutting inside, and getting whatever they wanted as long as they were communicating and pushing that ball inside. A lot of times, I felt like when they stopped doing that, especially in that second half, where they tried to go a little bit more isolation heavy, you saw the lead go away at that point. Because when you stop moving the ball and you're allowing the Bulls to attack you inside, do whatever they want to do inside, and then Kobe White basically goes unguarded from the three-point line at times, you give him that much confidence. Of course, he's going to make all of the other baskets that you give him because you gave him all that confidence. But even though that's the case, you still saw the Knicks were tired. That back-to-back hit them without question. And we saw it in that fourth quarter when they could not answer anything the Bulls were doing, and they were missing open shots. We were missing open three-point shots. We were missing shots inside as well, too, because we just did not have the lift in our legs. We were tired. The great Mike Breen on the call said it best. The Knicks have tired legs. And you can see that. If he's acknowledging that, and I'm acknowledging that, then I think it's fair for everybody to criticize a little bit of what we saw. But unfortunately for the Knicks, they did not have it tonight. We dropped tonight's game, and we could not get it done. And as we see here, 139 to 126, New York drops this game to the Chicago Bulls. And it was a heartbreaker because, again, the Knicks were leading at halftime. We had, I believe, an 8 or 9 point lead at the half. New York was able to keep that lead because they were able to pass the ball, they were able to move themselves, and they were cutting inside. Quarter-to-quarter breakdown, The Knicks won that first quarter 33-29. Then after that, we see here the Bulls and the Knicks go back and forth, but the Knicks still score 39 points in that second quarter to the Bulls 34. And Kobe White was one of the main reasons why they closed that second quarter so strong. Because the Knicks, believe it or not, if you were looking at the 5-minute mark, the Knicks were dominating that second quarter. And then boom, 41-17. 41-17 points scored in the third quarter. The Bulls basically hold us to 17 points. And the Knicks allow the Bulls to score 41 points. Have we lost our mind? And a lot of that, do you know how that happened? A lot of that was because we were missing shots, we were turning the ball over, and if we were getting the rebounds, sometimes we were missing those rebounds, or it would be long rebounds, the Bulls would get them, and they would push the ball up in transition. They were always pushing the ball up, and if they didn't have a clear shot inside the paint, they were passing to a cutter or passing to an open three-point shooter. A lot of times, it was to an open three-point shooter. And the person taking that shot was either Vooch, who was wide open, or Kobe White, wide open, or Zach LaVine, who could really not be stopped tonight. He was going off. During certain points, he was catching the ball, and it was very good defense, but just better offense. He was scoring on the Knicks at will at times. Even at three, a couple of dribbles, pull up three, and he still hits it. Guys, that's talent. We can talk about some of the great play and the great numbers that we saw from Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. I wish I could brag more. I wish I could talk about them more. I wish I could say this is their game where they showed why they could be an all-star duo this year. But I can't talk about that because in a loss, why does it matter? Why does anything like that matter in a loss? It doesn't matter to me, and I'm sure it doesn't matter to them. But let's go over what we saw here tonight. Karl-Anthony Towns in a loss, 44 points, 16 boards, and he had 5 assists, 17 of 29 from the field. Jalen Brunson, 33 points, 8 assists, 2 rebounds, 2 steals, 55% shot from the field. But the Knicks still lost to the Bulls by 13. I mean, if this doesn't tell you that offense alone doesn't win games, then I don't know what else will. The Knicks and their all-stars basically went off tonight. Jalen Brunson gave you 26 points in the first half. And then Karl-Anthony Towns gave you 44 points, basically scored all of that 44, 22 plus of them in that second half. He gave you all of that and then some. We gave you the offense that you can expect from a duo like Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. We still lost the game because offense is not enough. You cannot only win with offense. You need to utilize your bench. You need to utilize your depth. And you also need to play defense. You need to give effort. You need to try. And if you're allowing the Bulls to run inside, penetrate and create, get wide open threes, make sure they're getting an open cutter, cutting inside because they're drawing 2 defenders when they're going inside the paint. It's just going to be a cakewalk for them. And that's exactly what it was when you give up 41 points in the third quarter. How else do you explain that? You can't. There's no other way. Josh Hart in the loss tonight against Chicago, he had 2 points, 16 rebounds, and 10 assists. Now, obviously, with Josh Hart, you love him getting that double-double there because clearly he doesn't have to score to have an impact or be effective. However, a lot of times during tonight's game, in terms of offense, Josh Hart did not have it. He was not able to score. He was not able to penetrate and go straight to the rim like he was able to do against OKC. They had a little bit of a game plan against him. Josh Hart needs to make sure he adjusts his game so he can still contribute in terms of points, because 2 points on any given night is not going to be enough when you're a starter. You need to be able to contribute a little bit more, but it's hard to criticize Josh Hart because he really does everything when he's out there. One thing we do have to criticize, though, is the Knicks' three-point shooting in the last 8 games. 27%, 28%, 39%, 34%, 25%, 27%, 23%. And don't worry, when we get to the team stats, you'll see exactly what the Knicks shot tonight. And I just don't know what to say. The Knicks put up all-star numbers, but we can't stop them from shooting the three. We can't stop them from penetrating and creating. We can't stop them inside. And we have all of these great performances from Jalen, from Mikal, from OG, from Karl-Anthony Towns, and we can't talk about any of it. None of it, because we lose. Let's break down the minutes breakdown here, talk about what the starters did, what the bench did, and obviously get to the team stats like we normally do here. Mikal Bridges tonight, 33 minutes. OG Anunoby, 32 minutes. Towns, 37 minutes before going down with injury. Brunson, 33 minutes. Josh Hart, 40 minutes. And again, this is on a back-to-back, ladies and gentlemen. Precious Achiuwa, 27 minutes played. Very good tonight. I'm glad I saw Achiuwa play more minutes tonight because we know we didn't see him play that last night. Jacob Toppin, Matt Ryan, and Jericho Sims, and Tyler Kolek all get garbage time 2 minutes. Yes, I said garbage time 2 minutes because it's important to say garbage time. It's not real time. It's important to differentiate here. Landry Shamet, 17 minutes. Campaign, 14 minutes. A lot better this game than before. And obviously, Miles McBride did not play because he's still dealing with that mysterious hamstring injury that's kept him out 2 games. And we don't know what his status is going to be for Monday. But I also have to talk about the glaring issues the Knicks have right now. Ladies and gentlemen, last night the Knicks shot 28% from 3. Now, I can't lie. I didn't think it could get worse. Didn't think it could get worse from that. And the Knicks have been shooting the 3 ball extremely poorly over the last, 5 to 6 games. It's a trend. Look it up. It's a trend. And now tonight, New York shoots 26.7% from 3. In comparison, we allow the Bulls to shoot 54.1% from 3. New York shoots 49.5% from the field. Again, we shoot pretty well from the field overall, like we did last night against OKC, but the Bulls shoot 54.3% from the field. You want to know why this is concerning? Because it's almost identical to what Oklahoma City shot last night. They shot almost identical from 3 from what they shot from the field. And now tonight with the Bulls, they shot almost nearly identical what they shot from the field from 3. We have a problem. We have a problem defensively. And if allowing OKC, allowing Chicago, allowing certain teams who are not great three-point shooting teams to shoot the 3 ball extremely well, if those games are not enough evidence that the Knicks have bad perimeter defense and we need to improve it, I don't know what else is going to convince you. Let's take a look at the team assist here. 27 to 36. Now, 27 assists, way better in terms of the amount of team assists that we did last night against Oklahoma City. 22 to 27. However, when the Knicks are shooting 26.7% from 3, and the Bulls are moving the ball 36 times as a team and shooting the ball 54.1% from the field, you're likely losing this game. And that's what happened there. But look at the fast break points there. Chicago met the Knicks 18 to 20. Chicago is one of the worst teams in the league, but we know they like to run, and we let them run against us. We could not shut them down. Points in the paint. Even though the Knicks won that battle, 72 points to 56, the main reason for that is because the Bulls were open from 3. They got to the line 18 times. The Knicks got to the line 28 times, but we lost 6 points at the free throw line. We gave up those points. The Bulls were near perfect from the free throw line. So that's also something to look at. But let's look at the shot chart. Just take a look at the shot chart and everything that we saw here. Look at the Knicks and the amount of threes. The Bulls put up 37 threes. They made 20 of them. And they made all of them basically at the top. Their corner threes never went in, basically. But the top of the key threes, they went in. Scoring inside the paint, penetration and create, that happened. The Knicks, again, another game, missing so many shots game. Look at the empty circles. Heavy empty circles in that shot chart for New York. Look at the amount of threes we missed. Look at the amount of open bunnies we missed inside. Open shots we missed inside. Of course, New York is not going to be able to get past them. If you're missing shots, you're not passing the ball enough. And then they're meeting you at fast break points, and they're one of the worst teams in the league. And you're allowing them to dominate, to have open threes like this, to get whatever they want to get in terms of points inside the paint. You're going to lose the game. New York lost this game because they allowed the Bulls to score whatever they wanted to do in the paint at the three-point line, and the shot chart shows you that perfectly. New York has to get it together. We have to wake up. Our defense needs to get better. Our consistency needs to get better. Our utilization of the bench needs to get better, but we also need to get healthier. Once we get Deuce back, once we get Mitchell Robinson back, Tom Thibodeau will have 5 players on the bench that he trusts and that he can use. At that point, maybe we go 10 deep. Even if Tom Thibodeau doesn't have the bench players that he wants, the bench players that he trusts right now, I still think that he needs to utilize at least some of the players off the bench that we can throw into the game that will have an impact. That way, we can see what it looks like with a 10-man rotation until eventually, once we get healthier, we see what that rotation looks like. It's basically preparation for the future. I wish Tom Thibodeau saw it that way, but it's clear he doesn't. And when he plays an 8-man rotation like this, when we're down in a game against Chicago, when we clearly look tired, he's never going to expand that rotation until we get healthier. And basically, that's what I'm waiting for right now. Once we get healthy, to see how the minutes are managed, see what Tom Thibodeau does, and see what type of Knicks team we have at that point in time. But what about you guys? What did you think about tonight's game against the Chicago Bulls? What did you like about tonight's game? What did you not like about tonight's game? Were there some things during tonight's game that I didn't talk about that you wanted me to speak about? Let me know in the comment section below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans, take care of yourself, your families, and each other. Peace and love.